those of you who got an invite, welcome to Nerd Prom.
No matter where in the world you are, we're all Nerds International. With the hyphen.
Warning, this podcast is not suitable for men, women, children, pets, neighbors, imaginary friends, any friends, goats, ducks, sheep, farm animals in general. Definitely not your mom. Your dad might laugh and then punch you in the face, leaving actually nobody who really should listen to this. If you're unsure of what you're about to listen to, please turn it off and walk away. You'll be a better person for it. That said, let's get on with the show. Welcome to this special actual play of GarTar, featuring the ICRPG role-playing system. I'll be the confused GM, Murder Hobo, and the players, Tony Fanning Asmodeus as Gil, the porn shark man, and Bliss playing the part of Bertay, the shit-throwing flying monkey. Just like to say a special fuck you to Matt Stark for the no-show. Hopefully you don't pull that shit at the airport in 2 days, you prick. Love you, bro. That said, pretty much set the standard right out of the gate for what you're about to get into. Seriously, you might just want to turn it off and walk away. All right, here we go. Welcome to GarTar. Let me tell you a story about a world primitive yet futuristic, hedonistic yet virtuous. A world of serene beauty and rampant violence. Creatures big and small will gnaw on you both inside and out. A world where vast deserts will dry the meat off your bones, and lush forests and swamps will drown you on a rainy day. A world forsaken by virtuous gods and left only to be ruled by the deviant and mischievous. A child's play toy, one moment loved and caressed, the next tossed aside, lonely, cold, and forgotten. This world of chaotic, sensual beauty is known as GarTar. Our tale begins long ago in a galaxy far, far away. Captain's log, stardate 110517. The Dune Globe has taken several hits, and its dilithium crystal meth engines have run out of fuel. Gil, a large shark man with gnashing teeth and large flippers, and his friend Bertie, a flying monkey janitor with a propensity to throw fecal matter at his foes, have been charged with retrieving the dilithium crystal meth from the planet's surface. Our story begins as the two of them travel down the elevator towards the docking bay, and they will fly down to the surface.
Okay, so you two idiots hop in the elevator.
If a guy's gotta suck a dick, a guy's gotta suck a dick. But who's gonna put their dick in these jaws?
What?
You want to get down to the plan? I'm gonna fuck with the natives and explain that, part of my racial breeding is rubbing my genitals in their face. I'm gonna see how long I can go, see if I can actually go till I finish.
That's funny.
The doors open. Ahead of you, you see, like, just imagine your Star Wars where they take off through the force field. You're in a bay about that size, a little more Star Trek-y. It's not this gigantic bay. It holds the Liberator. Your ship's there. Everything looks good. Maybe there's some damage to the ship. I don't know. But the elevator doors open, and as the doors to this elevator opens, you can feel the air. Everything seems normal. Like, everything's... So that's kind of that's good news, because you know that the force field that's keeping all the air inside is up and running. So yeah, the ship is directly ahead of you. You can actually see what the Liberator looks like, because I've got it sort of locked on here. And we're going to say that's exactly what it looks like. Now the doors closed to this Liberator, and the doors to the elevator have just opened. Everything looks like the coast is clear. Starting with Bertie. Bertie's going to...
Bertie's gonna fly his cute little tail over here on the ship.
Fantastic. Yeah, you do have wings, right? So you start flapping your wings. You're not even going to step foot on this floor. You're like, screw this, I'm just flying. And you start flying over to the back door. There's the back of this Liberator has one of those flaps. You have to punch the code in. You know what the code is. There's no tricks to getting this thing open. And the door comes down, and you're looking in the back. Now, this has got a bit of a cargo bay, and also inside of it are 2 seats. And then it's got those benches that, you could put 3 or 4 people at the back of it. And everything is just quiet inside the ship. So you're going to have to... You make your way to the back, punch in the code, do. Gil, you're still in the elevator. You're doing this simultaneously. As he flies off, what is it you're going to do?
I'll run straight for the ship.
Okay, so you book it to the back door too. You're standing beside Gil, and we're going to say that that's going to be the end of that round. So I want to go to 2. We're going to set the resolution timer to 2. The door, you punch in the code, down it comes. You see the interior of the X1 Liberator. You guys hop in. Who's going to fly this bad boy?
I probably should. He's just a janitor.
Gil hops in, pushes the flying monkey aside. Birdie, Birdie, actually,
That's fun. It's racist for you to assume I can fly anyway.
It's too funny. So yeah, Birdie punches in the code. I got to make sure that I do this right because I'm going to fall back into the old trappings of game style where I just call out, "What are you guys going to do?" But we're going to Birdie starts off the round because we're going in rotation. So I would just say, as the door comes open, this is how you do ICRPG. As the door comes open, Birdie, you see the inside, the interior of the ship. I've already explained it, so I'm not going to do it again. And it's your turn. You're going to start us off. What are you going to do?
All right. So the door comes open, right? I will go ahead and hop in the driver's seat.
Damn straight you will. So I'm going to put Gil. I'm going to put, let's say, your standard car, the driver's up here. Gil's sort of over here at the back of the ship. You pile into the driver's seat. Okay, there is a command panel in front of you. This gigantic command panel. There's buttons, there's gizmos, there's gadgets, there's elevation, force fields, all sorts of different buttons and stuff like that. And
I will screw with Gil and say, so where's the key go in this thing?
All right, and then we're going to end your turn there. And Gil, what are you doing? You see this monkey fly in ahead of you.
I run up to the cockpit, see him in my seat, pick him up, move him out of it, and sit down.
Okay, so as long as there's no conflict between the two of you, I'm just going to say that happens unless Birdie's like, no. Birdie puts up a fight. Birdie says, okay. Birdie's like, I want to fly.
Birdie leaves a tiny little surprise nugget.
Oh yeah, Birdie drops a little bit of Duke on the chair as
this big shark just grabbed me. I mean, it's kind of justifiable, I think.
I think so too. Okay, so back to me. I'm gonna flip this rotation timer over, and we're gonna set it to 1. So Gil, you run in, grab Birdie, you pick him up by the scruff of the neck. I'm assuming something along those lines, and you can hear this sort of a light thud, but you're not quite sure what it is, almost as if you had got out of your car at Walmart or, whatever, your local shopping, and dropped your wallet on the ground. You know that sound, that fap, but you're not quite sure what it is. And you toss him into the passenger seat. Birdie, actually, we got to start with Birdie. So Birdie, you're getting flung into the passenger seat of this hot rod, and you've just left a nice Duke on the seat of the Liberator for Gil.
Well, sorry, I say as I strap in.
Okay, nothing unusual there. So you're just you're gonna hop in, buckle up your seatbelt, check all the surveys, look around. You kind of are just the janitor. Gil, you've just been apologized to. What's happening?
That's okay, little buddy. We're just gonna get this thing going. And I hit the start button.
Okay, so I'm assuming that you haven't noticed that you've sat in Birdie's turd, or did you wash it away, wipe it away?
I plopped my big ass down right on it.
So you have Birdie's turd stuck to your back door without even the slightest clue. You survey the panel in front of you, and like I said, I'm not going to make you guys roll for this because Gil, you've flown this ship a few times before, so it's not a big deal. So you're going to smash a few buttons, And the Liberator fires up. You can hear all the engines, the warp drives, the coils, everything's kind of coming together. All the dash lights up. And
bird like a kitten.
And you just reach down, grab the big lever, and push her forward, and the ship starts taking off. Now there's no trick to getting the shield down. I could have added some of that element into it too. I'm just going to say you guys take off. We're going to get right down into the nitty gritty. You hop through, you're in the ship. The ship flies through the force field, and you guys are in space. Which point I can unlock this, and you make your way towards the planet. Now, you start descending down to the planet. You have the coordinates for what seems like a resource of what you guys know to be crystal meth. Dilithium crystal meth. It's the power source, the fuel source that runs the Doom Globe. It's makes the warp
Pure,
engines
uncut.
Absolutely. There's a solid resource on this planet, and you have the coordinates to it already punched in. As you're descending through the atmosphere to this strange and mysterious planet, however, conflict. You see that? Conflict die. Oh, it was a 1. As you see or start descending through the atmosphere, this planet, you've never seen anything like it before. In fact, this planet is really uncharted. It wasn't even on the map. You just happened to run out of power near it for some reason. And that's when you got the call to come down and luckily there happens to be a deposit. So you're descending through the atmosphere of this planet, making your way towards the coordinates, when you can hear the dashboard just start lighting up. You can hear outside of the ship, you hear this ting, 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 and then the dash starts lighting up. Whoop, whoop, whoop. All the warning lights come on. Shit really hit the fan. A few things start smoking and spitting and sputtering, and you're almost wondering if something's wrong with the ship. But then one of the sensor readings pops up, and it tells you that this upper atmosphere there's a ton of sand in the environment, or up in the upper atmosphere that's floating around, which is, there's a bunch of heavy particles. This upper atmosphere has this weird sort of sandy barrier that you guys are flying through, and the sand is going into the engines and stuff like that. Birdie, what say you, my friend? Shit's hitting the fan.
See, it's always bad when shit's hitting the fan and I'm not the one throwing it. Hey guy, listen, I know dirt, and it sounds like we're getting some dirt in some uncomfortable crevices here.
Okay, Gil, you can feel free to react to that at any time. The two of you can absolutely have a conversation.
Well, yeah, that sounds bad. We should probably engage the shields.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so Birdie not really knowing what to do because he is the flying monkey.
The janitor.
He's the janitor. In one round, when it comes around to my turn, if you do not successfully either engage the shields or do something to get your ship functioning properly again, you're not going to crash land, but something bad will happen. So, here we go again. Now, the target number is a 10. This is the beauty of this game. So, now that it's... actually, you know what I'm going to do, too? Another thing that I like, and this really is...
That series of buttons there, you pull that toggle, you push that, and it's over there in the thing. You see it?
Okay, so, Birdie, you, again, are familiar with this ship, but because Gil is driving, I'm going to give you the opportunity to help Gil out by maybe pressing some buttons or maybe being a third arm or something along those lines, but you're not quite sure exactly what it is you should do. And so I'm going to say that this is an intelligence check. Based on 10, I'd like you to give me an attempt at intelligence to maybe figure out something. And if you succeed, we're going to roleplay it into the story. And then when Gil makes his turn, you're going to give him a bonus of +1 automatically.
All right. So I look for a button labeled shield, and let's fire.
16. Nice. All right, so you start smashing the shield button, but the shields don't come up. You're kicking the button, and you look over at Gil. Now, Gil's getting a +1 out of this deal, even though the shields haven't come up, because you're already pressing the button. So he knows that you're on that aspect of it, which allows him to focus more on maybe some of the other problems. You hit the button, and he realizes that it's not the shields are it's just one less thing that he has to worry about. Gil, we're going to go right to you. What do? You just realized that the shields aren't working.
Well, I can reroute power to the shields from here.
Perfect.
I'll just pull a toggle, hit a switch, reroute the power.
Okay, so what are we going to say this is? We're going to say this is intelligence. Oh, you've got a nice intelligence of 2 as well. So you get your +2 bonus plus your 1 from Birdie helping. Beat the target number of 10 with your +3. And that is a critical fail. And your ship...
I got nervous and I bit the console.
Your ship fucking plummets even faster towards the ground.
My shark instincts kicked in and I bit the console.
The dashboard completely goes off. From the ship,
is so great.
The dash literally shuts off. Everything's blinking. There's smoke is steaming up from underneath the dash.
Instead of actually like stripping the wire and connecting 2 of them, I bit several wires in half.
Okay, fantastic.
Because I used my teeth as wire strippers.
Mm-hmm. So this ship starts plummeting. Even at the engine shuts off, everything. Worst case scenario, and it starts plummeting down to the earth. So.
And at this moment, this is exactly when I noticed that I'm sitting in shit.
You're like, what's that smell?
Did you shit in my chair before I sat down?
You accuse me of that. I mean, we just went through the crazy crash.
You're plummeting to the earth.
You didn't? Because I mean, that was pretty scary.
Not really. I mean, it's just a crash.
I mean, look at that, man. You just sat there, and I think you pitched out a little. That's gross.
But that doesn't look like shock shit.
The two of you
had
are arguing.
You went from 0G to G.
Yeah, you're plummeting down to the surface, and you're having an argument over the turn that you sat on.
Particle matter can change shape and dimension and consistency due to planetary entry.
Okay,
I guess you'd be the expert. I probably ought to try and land this thing without killing us. Yeah, I'll try and land.
The Liberator has just become a 10-heart challenge. You have 4 rounds in order to do 10 points of effort to try and repair this ship. You can do whatever you want. There is no mechanical skill involved. Beginning of round 4, I've described the situation that you guys are in, plummeting down to the planet. Because of the 1 and the screw up, you're going to be way off course regardless, and this is where you're going to end up. But in order to not take any damage, is what we're going to say, you're going to try and successfully put this ship down. That's what the 10-heart challenge is. So, starting with Birdie. Birdie, explain what it is that you're going to do to help land this ship on the planet somewhat safely, even though you're miles off.
Simple. Basically, I'm going to go into the washroom facility and ensure that that's in proper working order, because everyone knows all the power routes through the fucking commodes on these things.
Okay. So you head back to the bathroom, you kick the door open in this bad boy, you take a look around. There is some steam and some sparks and some crazy stuff going on. The toilet that's in this Liberator ship is on completely like a complete discharge, so it's constantly swirling. Go ahead and make an intelligence attempt to try and repair some of the oddities that are going on in this bathroom. Maybe that'll help. Maybe you can rewire some stuff or do something along those lines. I think what happened is when he pulled all the wires and you guys started plummeting, the fucking toilet opened up and some shit flopped all over the place. You open the door, see poop everywhere, steam, smoke, fire, and the toilet opened, and you're like, I gotta clean this mess up.
I see what he did, man. Look, he had a data overflow error in the fecal management system.
Okay, so you're just gonna hang out for this round, unable to do anything. You just put your head down and shake your head a little bit. Gil, you're up at the front. What do you think what are you gonna do? How's this gonna work for you?
Well, I need my tools, so I reach into my duffel bag.
Yep.
And I'm gonna pull out my Starship repair kit, which has duct tape, bubble gum, and tricorder.
Cool.
And I'm gonna go to work trying to fix this console and get this thing working right.
Okay, so you have like a repair kind of a deal, right?
Yep, it gives me a +2 or +3 on the craft check to fix the ship.
Okay, so again, I'm going to say that it is going to be intelligence is going to be the one.
So I'll have a total of 5 then.
So you're going to add 5 to whatever this roll is?
Sweet, it's a 7.
Okay, well, nothing bad really happens, but you're because it's not a success and you have all of these tools crammed in your belt. The problem that you're having right now is that the gum has squished into your tricorder and it's keeping the flap from open. So you're going to have to spend this round screwing around with your whatchamacallit.
That's why I keep telling him to get me Wrigley's.
Okay, so this ship.
This Hubba Bubba shit's not gonna cut it.
I will look for the main for the water main, or at least into the head unit, and go ahead and attempt to turn that off. Hopefully, that will sit there and stop the free flowing PC.
Okay, so that's you're gonna go that 13 plus your intelligence.
All right. So what I do is I go. I find the water main that goes into the head. So I go ahead and turn that off, so that way the water starts shooting up through everything, which will sit there and free up processing power on the shuttle to sit there and let it start processing other items. Then water closets on, and the occupied sign turns off.
Fantastic. Gil.
All right, back to trying to get these tools into this console and fix it.
That's a 9, so still not enough. You're up at the front, and you can hear Bertie in the back. He's like, whoop, whoop. He's doing something. He's like, I got her. And you notice one of the lights goes off. It catches your eye, because as you're farting around down near the dashboard of the Liberator, there's this one button that's in your face constantly flashing, and it's like, occupied, occupied, occupied. And as you're trying to flip your tools and stuff, that occupied light goes off. And you're
oh, okay. Well, that's one less thing to worry about.
Oh, things are not looking good. We're going to turn back to my turn. The rotation value. The ship, X1 Liberator, continues to plummet. It's picking up speed. The planet is getting closer and closer, and this is going to probably be some imminent doom, death, and destruction. I will say, as you're coming down and you're getting closer, as the planet's coming up to you, you notice off on the horizon there seems to be some kind of small village or a cluster of houses that catches your attention way off in the distance as your plane or as the Liberator gets closer and closer. You just happen to catch a glimpse of it, and it sort of sticks out in your head. I probably should have made you make a notice roll for that, but we're not going to worry about that. So back to Bertie. 2 rounds left to get this ship in some kind of a decent landing position.
Okay, and I know the standard sanitation sensor is going nuts due to the amount of fecal matter that's all over the place. So I wipe out, I break into the emergency cleaning panel, and basically step out enough to sit there and activate the fecal freeze, which is a cryo system that freezes the feces long enough for you to be able to scrape it off without fucking having to get your hands all fucked up.
Fantastic. So if you succeed, because there's this fecal freezer deal, we're gonna let you apply weapon damage to your attempt with this fecal freezer that you've created in the bathroom. Go ahead and make your attempt. Intelligence on a 10, I believe. 17. Very nice. All right. So you can go ahead and apply some weapon damage. Your weapon damage is going to be a D6. Another 3 points. So your stress factor on the ship, you freeze everything up. Some electrical connections are conducting through the frozen water that's spraying around. Maybe the poop has sealed off a few of the circuits. And the dashboard slowly starts to flicker up by Gil. You don't really know what's going on in the back, but you can just hear Bertie in the back just whooping up a storm. And then you hear this and the dash starts to pop back up. What are you going to do there, Gil?
I'm totally singing the work song.
REMIX!
Well, since I'm inspired by him singing, I'm gonna go to work on this console. I'm just gonna skip the tools altogether. Just start getting there with my fins.
Okay.
It's not even in there.
Like your dick, it just dribbled out of the tip.
Fuck it.
Throw it on the table.
Pulling it.
Oh, yeah! All right, you start flipping and flapping. 1 point of damage left. The dashboard starts to light back up. I'm going to put this conflict
And I'm just
Resolution
bebopping
timer?
my head back and forth to his little work song back there. Like,
Yeah,
I think-
that's kind of a catchy tune.
Yeah, you're beating. He's calmed you a little bit. You're beating yourself up. You're up at the front doing a little beatbox, trying to match the rhythm and stuff. The flippers are coming together. All the wires seem to go back, and things are coming together. Final conflict round, Birdie. Way to go. We got 1 heart left on this effort die to land this ship safely on the planet and not take any destructive impact damage. What's it going to be, Birdie?
All right, since the fecal matter has been isolated in the cryo state, now we sit there and knock it. Basically, use the system to pull it through, feed it out, which will sit there, clean it. The water closet system will go through a complete reboot and free up system resources. Yeah,
You got a 16?
I grabbed it
Okay.
off the paper. Yep.
There's technically no way that you can fail with 1 effort left. Obviously, you can't roll lower than a 1 on the die. So you managed to get all the systems back up online. Gil up at the front sees the entire dashboard start to light up all of a sudden. I'm assuming that he assumes that he had something to do with it, even though the majority of it was all just because it was short wired in the bathroom. But yeah, the dash panel kicks in, Gil. Everything fires back up. The ship sort of rights itself. It's no longer sort of spiraling out of control as it descends towards the planet. And it's your turn. I'm going to have you...
will quick wipe off my seat, get the shit off it, and then sit back down and fly the ship.
Okay, so let's say problem solved. The ship lands, and it slides sideways through the sand and ends up in this position steaming. You get out and let's roll this conflict here. See, so in 2 rounds, something bad is going to happen. You guys have crashed into this planet. You're in this sandy kind of desert, and you look around, and in every direction it's just, well, rocks that have weird graffiti spray painted on them.
Somebody owns those rocks.
Yeah, but the
No,
ship.
I remember this from back in the kingdom.
The ship
This is all
seems to be.
purely vandalization.
The ship seems to be fine, even though it's on its side. Ship isn't an issue. It's landed. You guys happen to know that you can just simply press another button and engage the ship's nanobots. They'll all come out, fix any of the systems. But this is like a long haul. So let's say the ship got hit by a meteor and you basically ripped half the ship off. That's where the nanobots would come in. They wouldn't be able to do a quick fix on the wiring system, but given a day or two, these nanobots will start, collecting sand and whatnot and turning it into precious metals and, through the different rocks and whatnot. And the nanobots will skitter off. They're like little spiders that sort of shoot out, and they'll repair any of the serious damage. They'll also go in and clean out the engines and stuff like that. So you can smash the button on the dashboard to engage the repair protocol, but it's going to take some time. And you still have a mission left ahead of you to get out of this ship and go get some of the dilithium crystal meth. We're going to put it to Birdie's turn. What's happening, Birdie?
I'll make sure that I close up the secret captain override in the bathroom.
Fantastic.
Everyone knows that every ship really pilots from the bathroom. And it's all janitors who really make everyone think that they're doing everything.
Well,
Okay.
you are getting your poop in a group back there.
Fantastic.
You just don't know.
All right, so
which way to the dilithium crystal meth? I could use a hit, I think.
okay, there's going to be a sensor. Let's just say that you guys have sensors. You're not 100% sure which way the dilithium crystal meth is.
Hey! While you were back there, I saw a town just a ways off when we was crashing. Maybe we go there and get directions.
Maybe I can get my first victim of my genital to face rub.
Fantastic. I really like the way that you guys are staying on the railroad tracks. That's freaking top notch, dudesters. All right, so you're going to gather up your supplies, pick up your things, grab a couple of the tricorders, and pick up some food supplies, grab some water. You kick the hatch open on the back of the ship, engage the repair mechanism, and you hop out, and your feet sink into the soft, warm sands of this strange planet that you guys have landed on. Birdie, what are you going to be doing for the next hour as you guys travel towards this town that you saw off in the distance?
I will do a mix of like flying every bit, walking a bit, trying to find things to amuse myself. Maybe like juggle my paired bananas that totally just look like bananas.
Fantastic. Okay, so the two of you, or Gil, what are you going to be doing for the next hour while you guys make your way towards the...
Well, every good walk needs some tunes, so I kick on the personal speaker system with the porno music and starts walking that way.
70s funk that lets you know that there's going to be a bush the size of like a hedgerow.
That's right. There we go. Poured myself a nice Jameson's and ginger ale.
Excellent. I found some porn music, 70s porn music on YouTube. Drop this into the background for your nice cruise across the desert. Wait for Bliss to show up, and we'll be good to go.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, okay, cool. So, Gil, you kicked in the porn music. If that's too loud, just let me know. Actually, I'll just reset that to 0. I don't want it to be irritating or any of that stuff. So, you guys are just cruising through the desert with your chicka chicka bow wow. And you make it about an hour down the road.
I'm daydreaming of my future as a porn star.
I figure, I got up high enough. It's like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here.
Got the music going. It's like working on my moves. Okay, ladies, we got this. Oh, yeah.
That's it, bitches. Floss me. Floss me, bitches.
You better clean that pussy. I like kosher pussy.
Oh, man, that's horrible.
Music just got better. That's awesome.
Wow, this sucks.
While you're doing that, since I see him coming, I will discreetly shit into my hand and be loaded.
This is going to give you guys the advantage. You see that huddling around this rock are these little goblins. They're sort of goblinoidish, anyways. They're all standing around talking about something. They're looking into the sands. They're sort of pointing off in the general direction of the village. And you guys pop up behind this rock here where Birdie stops you. And he's like, hey, there's something going on up at the front. You see these strange, unusual creatures that kind of look like they're naked. And they have these long tube-like appendages that stick out from between their legs.
I don't know what we're running into, but it's like something with some floppy cocks.
Porn, music.
Maybe they're having a measuring contest. I could win this.
I don't know. They seem like cock blockers.
That's fantastic. Birdie, because you noticed it, on your turn, I'm assuming you smack Gil, turn the music off. There's this group of people up ahead, and we're not quite sure what they are. You've given Gil the rundown of what they look like, so the two of you are sort of on the same page, and we're just going to go right into Birdie's turn. They look aggressive. I can tell you that much, but you're not sure. You've never experienced this race before.
Here. I'm gonna fire my banana.
You're just gonna fucking full-on murder hobo this guy. You have no idea whether they're friendly or not, and you don't give a shit. You're like, these guys look like bad news.
Listen, those penises are menacing.
They
seem to be between us and the path of town. They look like they're up to no good, and I believe you'd said something about them looking sinister. So,
they do look sinister.
In the land of Oz, I learned, if it's green, you fire first and ask questions later.
Cool. Okay, well, fire away, my friend. These things don't look like they're wearing any kind of armor. They're just sort of green-skinned guys hanging out in the desert, sort of hanging around this fire and whatnot. And, they're just doing some typical everyday shitting and chattering while they have a little conversation about what's going on in life. And so you squeeze the gun, the banana gun. Let them rip. That's going to be so now when you're rolling damage, you have to beat their armor in order to hit them, and they just because they're naked, they only have an armor of 10. So the target number for the attempt on this is going to be 10 on these guys.
Would it be lower because they don't know he's coming? Would it be surprised?
Actually, inside of ICRPG, there is an easy, standard, and hard, which gives you a +3. A standard roll is just whatever the difficulty is, and then hard is a -3. But you're correct. You do have the drop, so I'm going to give you that easy roll. I'm just going to tell you to make an easy attempt to shoot them, and they have an armor class of 10. Each one of these guys is 1 heart, which I'm going to write in here. Say 1 heart. Yeah, it does.
You were given a mission. It wasn't to make friends. It was to sit here and get that lithium crystal meth. And, these guys don't look like they're dealing, so they're useless.
That's right.
Wow. Okay, so that's a critical fail.
Did you seriously critically fail?
I did. I got a 1, man.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna immediately move the this rotation value on this dice from 4 turns to 3 turns. In 3 turns, backup is gonna come. That's what's gonna happen. So you step out and you start. You point at this one guy. I don't know if you call out or what it is, but that gun. We're actually gonna say that what happens is you went to shoot at this guy. And realized that the bananas in your banana gun weren't fully clipped in. The clip was kind of hanging loose a little bit, and you stepped out and squeezed the trigger. I don't know if you yelled yippee-ki-yay, mofo, or something, but this guy turns to look at you, and he alerts the rest of them to your presence, at which point immediately all of their crotches become super turgid, and they have these long tube-like appendages all immediately become erect, and your gun just kind of goes...
I was thinking someone on the ship decided it'd be funny to sit there and load my first round with, instead of a banana, they managed to, make a banana split out the first round. So, basically I went to fire. I was like, I say the most menacing thing I can think of. We come in peace, and... and a banana split comes out the end.
Fantastic. Gil.
Like son of a bitch.
Oh, we're attacking? I'm going to run. And I run around the rock and right at them. Try to scare them going, boogie, 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 boogie. My +1 makes it a 10.
Oh, so it's a complete success. Okay, so you run out, start screaming your fool head off, and let's say, where's your D4? So there's 4 guys. Roll me a D4 and see how many of these guys you actually make sort of run off into the sunset.
All right, 4.
Oh Jesus! Oh shit! All right, so I'm just gonna make these guys.
So basically, I'm running forward, yelling, or at the top of my lungs, humming the Jaws theme. Dun, 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 dun. My arms, my flippers are up in the air, and my big old grin.
Wow, okay.
I'd like to take my action. I just take a crap as I see it.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. So these guys start they start screaming and they're just running away. As they run away, you notice the unusual part about these guys is as they run away, they sort of fade into the sand, almost like they become one with the sand before they disappear. And we're just going to forego that scene. You guys don't have to fight the sploogelings or get any sauce in your eyes. So you still have a couple hours.
I look over at Birdie and I wink. Size matters.
No joke, and I've never had that issue before. Usually, I right off the bat, but dang.
You showed those guys. On the horizon, you start to notice that a storm is starting to kick up. You're still not quite sure how far away this village is, but you know that you're heading in the right direction. So I'm going to say that it's going to take 2 hours of travel time. And what we're going to do then is we're going to go around and we're going to start with Gil with Birdie, because we always start with Birdie. It always makes its complete rotation. And over the next hour, you see this storm, this impending storm. You can tell that it's coming. What is it that you're going to do?
I'll flash back to the kingdom and be like, oh shit, I hope there's not a little girl, a damn dog. I don't need to stop, man.
Oh my god, I was drinking when you said that. It's like full-on Wizard of Oz style.
What would you do with a brain if you had one?
Do? Why, if I had a brain, I could while away the hours, conferring with the flowers, consulting with the rain.
Oh, that's spectacular. Okay.
Yeah, I'll go flight, because, the fight or flight is getting real, and I know little girls with dogs are like fucked up to kill bosses.
All right, cool. Gil.
Well, it's hot out here, and, worked up a thirst chasing off those sploogelins, so as we're walking along, I'm going to pull out my canteen with a little bit of kosher coconut milk in it. Take a drink.
Okay, have a little refreshment. You're not actually damaged in any fashion, so I would normally give you like a constitution roll or something like that over the next hour, and maybe, drinking your coconut juice would have revitalized you in some way, but I'm going to say that you're fresh and invigorated, so your next roll will be an easy roll.
All right, sweet.
Okay, and we're going to set
Gotta stay hydrated. We're in a desert.
You see the village ahead of you. It might be 10, it might be 15 minutes walk, and as you see this village, these two women that you see off in the distance, they're far away, but they start coming towards you, walking out away from the village. You get the impression that they're coming out to greet you, and if there's a problem, they're going to stop you before you get to the village. Birdie always goes first. What are you going to do?
I go up to the warrior women, and I will give say greetings. I give you the greeting of universal peace, and I rub my genitals in the nearest one's face.
Okay, fantastic. I don't really know how I want to oh, actually, I totally do. Which one would you like to rub your balls in the face of? Whole lot of clothes gone, or leaving slug trails? The redhead or the brunette? The brunette?
She looks to be the closest. Actually, I do like ginger, so we'll go for the ginger.
Okay, so as you approach.
Will our daring adventurers gain entrance to Hoville with the threat of the genital face wash and the impending doom of the coming storm? Tune in next time. Greetings, fellow RPGers. I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about my first experience with ICRPG. Never having played or used the system and only reading the first 70 pages of the handbook, I found it extremely easy to fall right into telling the story. I was never really second-guessing myself with the rules or stopping the action to find out how to accomplish a task. The rules in the core book are so simple that just by reading them, I was able to figure out exactly how to play the game. I knew what Hankerin was trying to get across, what the principle of the system was. There's no complicated math or small side rules to tie up the story. And I really liked the quick pace. The rapid action feeling of my players rolling dice constantly was really exciting. As we progressed through the story and we all got a little more comfortable with using TableTop Simulator, the story seemed to have a really nice, fast flow to it, like a good, solid pace. One of the other things, too, is inside ICRPG is a mechanic in which you as the GM use a D4 dice, and at the start of the game, you roll this die. Wherever it lands is how many rounds your group has before you make something happen. And by something happen, I mean you're going to change the story or implement some kind of danger or treat your players to a nice surprise. Maybe a refreshing waterfall rest or advancing horde of orcs to move your story along. I edited out the first part of the story where the players were in the elevator and a large explosion happened. They had to dodge bits of panel and flying debris when the timer went to 0. This was a simple dexterity roll versus the room's target number, and on a success there was no damage, and if they failed it was just a simple basic weapon or basic damage, which was just a D4, so maximum of 4 hit points. It worked amazingly well throughout the game, and I really feel like this is one mechanic that might have elevated my game. This mechanic was a freaking game changer. It was that good. The one problem I had with this mechanic, however, is that I only had 2 players in the game, so the countdown timer was quickly reaching 0 all the time. And I was really put on my toes to tell a story and think of a unique way to bring the mechanic into play. With 4 people, obviously, I would have had a lot more time to be creative, but I really felt invigorated as a storyteller in GM because of this. This mechanic alone has sort of lit a fire
in my GM brain. It's fueling the imagination station. I absolutely love this mechanic, and I'm going to be using it in future games. I'm going to implement it in other games going forward. So some of the other things that came up during our after-game downtime, as to be expected on your first trip into any gaming system, you're bound to forget some rules or ideas. One of which I think is really important in this game is loot. The players felt like there wasn't enough stuff to do. They could just roll, attack, or make regular moves, like intimidate, jump, or sneak. They didn't feel there was enough variety of things to do, and I'm really hoping that in future games, I remember to give out more loot. I feel that this game, like D&D, is really a loot-based, improve your character kind of game. You don't really up your starting stats too much. It's loot that molds the game and gives your character the tools to overcome challenges. It gives them flavor. For example, scroll spells could allow flight or a magic damage attack. Instead of rolling a d6, you're doing a d8. Maybe your next 5 attacks are easy rolls, or you get a scroll of quickness or something, so that you got to go first for a couple of rounds. Loot can really change the game, and coming from Savage Worlds where loot isn't really the thing, I kind of slacked in handing it out. I think that loot is a game changer for players. Everybody likes getting loots, and inside ICRPG, there's a deal where anytime you attack or take on like a 10 heart monster, you roll on the loot table, whether it's basic or whatever. You just give them some junk so they feel like they've got some kind of an accomplishment or something. But I like that, and I didn't do it inside of the game. I feel like I let my players down in this perspective. Speaking of finding loot, one of the other mechanics that comes up is the effort mechanic. Effort is the number you need to overcome to succeed at a task, and ICRPG takes this to a new level. Speaking of loot, when players find it, you can implement the use of effort. You can find a lockbox in the back of the room. It requires 1 heart worth of effort, or basically 10 hit points, to open. This allows your players to use special skills to open this box more quickly, or just do it regular style. But regardless, it isn't just a roll and succeed and move on mechanic. You can put some mechanical crunch in the form of a timer on it, mid-battle or impending doom, and the players are trying to open this box instead of helping with the current task, can really add some great complications for your players. The effort mechanic on stuff is very, very cool. Like, you want to stop and learn that spell. That's a 10 heart spell. Maybe it takes you 3 rounds while your wizard is off in the corner trying to learn this spell that could be the game-changing fireball that saves everybody. But it takes 3 rounds. Maybe it takes 2, depending on how skilled he is. It's super interesting mechanic to have in a game. Overall, I really loved playing ICRPG. I thought it was super streamlined, like memory muscle. I just had to read about it one time, and I knew how to play it. I understood what Hankerin was getting at, like how you were supposed to play the game. You basically apply a simple mechanic to everything that you do, and just change a few variables, and away you go. And if you stick to that, you'll have like a fast-paced, rapid-action, streamlined storytelling session. I feel like I could have done a better job in a few other key areas as well. And this game, like Savage Worlds, is just going to get better the more I learn how to utilize it. I hit up Bertie on Discord to get his take on a few of these statements from a player's perspective. Here he is. Okay, so it's actually kind of... I was writing the postscript sort of shit that I wanted to say for the podcast when I saw you pop on there. I fired up Discord and I was thinking about you. What I'm doing is I'm turning it into an actual play. There's a bunch of really good material in there, and I was about 40 minutes into it when I decided to put a stop on it. And I put the stop on it right where you, as the winged crazy friggin' ape man, decided to mash your genitals into the face of the redhead. And that's where we stopped. But there's the game goes on for some time. Like, it goes on for quite a while. It's both of our firsts into ICRPG. You're first into TTS2, so we'll get into that a bit, because that's really neat too, except for the stupid friggin' image problem that we had. But near the end of the game, there was a chest that you found. And I put a timer on that chest, and you did exactly what I thought you would do. And I had spoken about this with Victor earlier, is that when you throw something, this new shiny, in front of somebody, I said to Victor, I'm like, these people are going to go for it. And I thought, I like the effort mechanic, and this is what I was writing about. I like the effort mechanic and the fact that you didn't really help smash the crystals. You just were like, I want in this fucking chest, and that's all there is to it. And I said to Victor, I'm like, that is going to happen in these games. So that's what I was writing about. And anyways, I should introduce you. This is Bliss. He was playing the part of, Bertay, the winged ape.
Hi, I'm Bliss. I go by Beaufriend on Google+.
So, what did you think of ICRPG?
It was definitely an interesting experience. Very fat trimmed, more so than even Savage Worlds. Yeah, there was definitely a lot of opportunity and a lot of freedom, and because you weren't presented with so many options, it seemed like there was a lot less option paralysis that would happen. That I know it seems kind of weird by having ultimate freedom, right?
Yeah, the character creation. We started right out of the gate. We did basically a session 0 inside of 15 minutes. Had I been a touch more prepared and had the actual images from the PDF on panels in the game for you guys to see and read, it would have actually even been quicker. But what do you think of the character creation? A simple 6 points, drop them, take your loot, and away we go?
Yeah, that seems all right. There was like that one point where I think you had said things are kind of messed up, which also kind of comes back to like that whole box. Why I went after the shiny box is like, okay, this is where I finally get my chance to use my lockpick tools. Probably if I hadn't had the lockpick tools, I wouldn't have went after it.
Yeah, I
would have just went to the secondary action of just smashing it into the dilithium crystals and be like, oh, well, we'll try and kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
The whole lockbox thing too, like that scenario that comes up at the end, it was kind of ultimately cool because there's multiple ways that you could get into this. I never said that you needed to lockpick it. I just said it's going to take 10 effort to get into it. Now, whether it's got a punch code on the front and you're looking for dirty fingerprint smudges and trying to guess, or you're just going to brute force your way into it, which is kind of what happened in the end, I didn't deter or set a standard for you guys to get into this thing. I find one of the things that we were talking about near the end there was that there isn't a lot of, it felt very maybe too much streamlined. And I think the reason is because we didn't have the loot. I should have been doling it out anytime you guys defeat like a 10 heart beast, like right at the beginning when the Spoodglins took off running. I should have said something along the lines of they drop a sack and in that sack you find a loot box. And I don't even have to apply, and I could have applied a heart to it or effort to it, but I didn't need to. But I feel like ICRPG, the loot is what defines or gives you the ability to do other amazing things. It's more like D&D in that fashion. Like Savage Worlds, we're both familiar with it. Loot's not really a thing in Savage Worlds. In Dungeons and Dragons, it's a thing. Your rings, your potions.
Yeah, that's like, that's the thing. It's Dungeons and Dragons seems to, has definitely always been loot driven, since the beginning. I mean, that, you're a fighter, you start out, whatever armor you can afford, and you're ultimately working toward like your best armor class and or your best, most damaging weapon.
Yeah, and you're on that 1 to 5 scale. You're looking for that, +1. I don't know if they have it in 5th edition if they went up to +5. But that +5 Vorpal was, as a kid growing up, that was the one that you were after all the time. One of the neat things about this game, and I know that you don't really know or haven't read it or any of that stuff, but there's so much you can do with the loot in this game, which I think is cool. Like it's a wide open, whatever you kind of feel like doing. Maybe you find a ring of quickness and all it does is allow you to choose where you want to go. Like, sort of like an interrupt ring or whatever. There's guns that allow you to shoot multiple times or double your effort. Like, it's cool because, and that's what I mean by like manipulating the game. And I really feel like I let you guys down on the loot part of it.
It's okay. Remember, we're both learning, and we even said that it was very much like fumbling with the that first time fumbling with the bra hooks and
yeah,
is this
that's
right?
I don't think we got the titties out. I think we're still fumbling with the bra.
I think we got finger caught in there and we're stuck.
Yeah, no, that's really what I feel like. What did you think of the threat timer?
The threat timer was definitely one of those things that it makes me think of like old school Space Hulk, where you like take the timer, flip it. Okay, that's how long your Space Marines got to move. What do you mean? And they say it's about 2 minutes because they use the most. They use random egg timers. Like you can take 2 of those old school Space Hulk timers, right? Put them up, set them up, and let the sand drop out, and they won't drop out at the same time at all.
I found it for me being a DM, but what I found was because there was just 2 of us, the 2 players and me, that timer went around fast, and it really like kept me on my toes. It made me always like constantly have to think, what am I going to do with this? Especially when it landed on like a 2 and I only had like 2 rounds to sort of think of something to do or something to throw at you, put an obstacle in your way. And I'm looking at the page right now in the PDF, and it's actually so much more than just a threat timer. One of the things that I realized, like when I go back and look at it, I don't have to make bad things happen. You can use it as a timer, or the one thing that I missed on it was the treat. The possible explanation it says here is if characters can reach the Hall of Gods before being mauled or grabbed, Udin will bless them with superhuman strength. I should have put something like that in so that it's cool because you can mix it up that way. My next question would be: do you feel like the mechanics sort of stepped aside and it was more of a storytelling game?
It definitely felt like that. Like the way you were using the timer, the timer. Just to go back to that for a second. It also, why I mentioned the Space Hulk thing was because that also added pacing to it. So like from the player perspective, that where you're like as a GM, oh my god, I got to like come up with this stuff. Since you were just dumping shit on us, it was more of a, I probably shouldn't have said that, but well, I guess you'll get it or not. But it does the same thing that the timer does in Space Hulk. The Space Marine is the one who the Space Marine side is the one that has the timer. They have that set amount of time to get the actions done that they're going to get done, and that's it. They if the timer runs out before they've moved, then that's it. They don't get to move.
Wow, that's kind of harsh.
It's a Games Workshop game. So
yeah, well, yeah, okay, there you go. Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it again. I'm taking the index cards with me down to Con on the Cob this weekend. And I'm hoping that my second and third rounds or excursions into this are going to be a little bit better. Anyways, yeah. No, that's cool. Anyways, thanks for coming out. I just wanted to pick your brain for a few seconds and kind of see how you felt and what you thought about the game yesterday. And I'm going to tack this little bit onto the end after I do some editing and shit. Fuck, it takes a long time to edit stuff. The Murder Hobo Show is not affiliated with or endorsed by any companies mentioned on this show. Any of the products mentioned on our show or appear on our website are the property and copyright of their respected owners. All items are used under fair use and educational review purposes. All other items are the intellectual property of the Murder Hobo Show, copyright 2017, all rights reserved.